You've done the hard work, you know who your ICP is, you have a one-page sales process, and you even know your pipeline numbers. And then you send your first outreach message, and nothing comes back. Crickets. So you send another. Still nothing. And now you start wondering if the ICP was wrong, or if the process was wrong, or maybe nobody actually wants what you're selling. Here's what is actually happening. The outreach is wrong, not the product, not the ICP, the message. Today I'm going to show you the exact framework I use to turn a strong ICP into outreach that gets real buyer responses. I'm Mark from Rice Revenue Consulting. And before we get to the framework, I want to name the single biggest mistake I see in founder outreach. Founders lead with themselves. The email says, I'm reaching out because we help companies like yours with X. The LinkedIn message says, I want to introduce myself and share what we do. The prospect does not care about you yet. They care about themselves. And the second your message is about you, it's over. Great outreach starts with them. Everything else follows. The framework, 4 parts. Part 1, the relevant line. The first line of any outreach has one job. Prove that you're not a stranger sending a template. You did your homework. You know something specific about them. This does not mean stalking someone's LinkedIn for an hour. It means spending 2 minutes finding out one real specific thing. They just raised a round. They hired a new VP. They post about it, a challenge they're facing. Use that. Example. I noticed Rice Revenue just expanded into the enterprise segment. That's usually when the sales motion gets complicated fast. That one line says, I know who you are. I know what's happening in your world. I have something relevant to say about it. That is relevance. And that's what gets the second line read. Part 2, problem statement. After relevance comes the problem. And here's the key. You state their problem in their language, not yours. Not, we help companies scale their revenue infrastructure. Nobody talks like that. Most founders at your stage are still personally closing every deal. And calling that out is real. If they recognize that themselves in one sentence, you have their attention. If they don't, they were never your ICP anyway. One sentence, their problem, their words, that's it. Part 3, the proof point. You earn the right to say you can help. One specific concrete result, not a list of services, not a paragraph about your background, something like, I helped a SaaS founder in a similar situation build a repeatable process that took him out of every deal within 90 days. Short, specific, credible. It does not need to be dramatic. It just needs to be real. Part 4, the low friction ask. This is where most founders blow it. They ask for too much too soon. Can we schedule a 45-minute discovery call next week? That's a too big an ask for a stranger. Make the ask small. Make it easy to say yes to. Would it be worth a 15-minute conversation to see if there's a fit? I'm not going to pitch you. I just want to understand where you are. 15 minutes, no pitch. That's easy to say yes to. And once they say yes to 15 minutes, everything else gets easier. Let me show you what this actually looks like assembled into one message. I'm going to use a fictional example, but this is exactly how I would write it. The prospect, Sarah, co-founder of a B2B HR tech company, about 1.2 million annual recurring revenue. She just posted on LinkedIn last week about struggling to hit her Q2 targets. Here's the message. Relevance line. Saw your post about Q2 hitting a wall. At this stage, it's one of the most common inflection points I see in founder-led companies. Problem statement. Usually what is underneath it is not the product and not the market. It is a sales motion still running entirely on the founder's relationships and energy, which works until it doesn't. Proof point. I helped a SaaS founder in a similar situation build a process that got him out of every deal within 90 days without hiring a VP. Low friction ask. Would it be worth 15 minutes to see if anything I described sounds familiar? No pitch, just a conversation. That entire message is under 100 words. It took about 5 minutes to write once I knew who Sarah was and what was happening in her world. That is the framework working. Most responses do not come from the first message. They come from the follow-up. Here's what a simple 3-touch sequence looks like. Day 1, your original outreach with the 4-part framework. Day 4, a value-add follow-up. Not just checking in. That phrase should be banned from sales. Instead, something genuinely useful. a framework, an observation, a question that makes them think. Day 10, the honest close. Something like, I do not want to keep filling your inbox if the timing is not right. If this is not relevant right now, just let me know and I will leave you alone. But if it is, I would love 15 minutes. 3 touches, 14 days. Then you move on. Then come back later, and many do. Great. But chasing past 3 touches starts doing damage to your brand. This week, take your ICP statement from the last video and write one outreach message using the 4-part framework: relevance line, problem statement, proof point, low friction ask. Test it on 5 people and see what comes back. Adjust it based on what you hear. And if you want a head start, I've put together a free B2B outreach template worksheet that you can download at ricerevenue.com/founderstools. It gives you a fill-in-the-blank version of the 4-part framework we just covered so that you can build your first message before you leave this page. In the next video, I'm going to show you what to do once they say yes, how to run a discovery call that moves deals forward instead of stalling them. Subscribe so you can catch it. Drop your outreach draft in the comments. I will give you real feedback on what is working and what to tighten.